What's good, everybody? So you see in that article, a man wearing a property of Allah shirt located in Austin, Texas, basically went on a shooting spree. And it looked like if you've seen the video, it looks like an outside bar, inside bar situation, and injured 14 people and killed 2. I'm not the one to get into politics or none of that. And the reason why it may have happened, that is in the climate of self-defense possibly and all that, but I don't really do the politics online. I don't really care for politics like that. It's just too messy these days. But from a self-defense standpoint, this is why it's important if you can carry a firearm legally, because all it would have took was one person to shoot back and take that man down. And if there were 2 people with firearms, better. If there were 3, better. If there were 4, better. If there was 5, better. Someone in that bar with a firearm to take out that mass shooter and who had the courage to do so and protect their family and everybody in that establishment. The chances of being face to face with a person trying to take your life may be slim, but it's still a possibility. And why take those chances? Some people may say carrying a gun with you everywhere you go everywhere you can go is extreme, but you just never know what's gonna happen. And I think it's our duty, especially as men, but if you're a single mother or if you're by yourself, it's our duty to protect ourselves, and we should take it very seriously. It's unfortunate, we've the nature of humans sometimes can be animalic, but we can't control other people and how they feel, what they think, or how they think. We can only control ourselves and what we may do in a situation that arises like these things. But, if a couple people had legal firearms, they would have been able to take this dude out, no questions asked. It just takes somebody with courage to do so, a lot of lives could have been saved. I say this all the time, we need the police to arrest these people, but in the meantime, first responders get there not in time. Bullets travel faster than almost the speed of lightning sometimes, and a 911 call takes minutes. Response takes minutes, and within seconds, lives are taken. So arm yourselves if you can legally and you feel confident to do so. And if you don't feel confident yet, take the first step in shooting a gun at a range or taking a class in firearm safety. Do both. Know the laws, your self-defense laws. Know the laws in the gun laws and how to travel with a firearm. Where can you carry? Where can't you carry? How much rounds you can carry? How much magazines you can carry? What kind of gun that you can carry and all this, etc. Because it's very vital. Not all people who carry firearms want to carry firearms, but they just do because they feel like it's necessary these days. We're living in the end of times where things are getting crazier and crazier. Where all these wars and all these political things going on, people want to make statements regardless of if they're on the right or the wrong side of the fence. Some people are extreme with what they believe in and will force that upon people and unfortunately cause bodily harm to get their point across. And we can't control that. We can only control how we will protect our families. We can only control how we protect our families. And, it's a part of self-love. You love yourself, you protect yourself, and you protect your family, of course. The people that you love. Nobody wants their lives taken, in the hands of someone else because of something that doesn't even have to do with them, Politics is a very sensitive thing. Religion is a very sensitive thing. There's a lot of sensitive things that people are going through and dealing with and may not have the same opinion as yours. That's irrelevant. No matter what you believe in, who you believe in, or why you believe in it, you shouldn't go out taking people's lives. And, that's just more enough reason. That's just one good enough reason why we should protect ourselves, the person may have a right opinion, but the message and the way you handle it is wrong, wrong or right. I don't know. I'm not here to talk about, politics and what's wrong and right in politics. I don't care for politics like that. We just need to continue to love our neighbors and respect one another, despite the differences, and be mature about things. You know what I'm saying? So practice situation awareness. Don't racially profile people, these things, but understand the climate that we're in and be vigilant and, be aware of your surroundings. Look at these politics, if going on, and look at, something that somebody may be wearing that may catch you off guard, or their body language, the way they're acting, the way they're scanning places, what they're wearing, if they have like a bag and they're fiddling with it, or they're reaching in their waist, they're reaching in their bag, they're pulling things out, they're placing things on the floor. You got to be aware of your surroundings to be able to react faster than that person who's trying to do whatever he's doing. Because anybody who wants to harm you has a one-up on you already, because they are prepared mentally and they are preparing physically to do it, and you may not be aware. So your situational awareness have to be, elite, so that way you can catch on to people and what they're doing around you. So that's my take on that situation. I'm not here to talk about the politics. I'm just here to talk about what happened and how people's lives were taken and how many people were injured because of it. Right or wrong, that's not right. We don't go around shooting at people because we don't believe in what other person believes in, or we don't agree with what they agree with. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of other ways of doing things. He chose the wrong way to do it. For whatever reason he felt he had to do it, he chose the wrong way to do it. Wrong way to go about it. So you gotta love and protect yourself at all times. Be aware of your surroundings and know the climate that we're living in, and protect yourself based off the climate that we're living in. We may not all of us watch the news like that, but be aware of what's going on. You don't gotta watch the news 24/7, but just be aware of what's going on around you in the country that you're in, and understand the climate and what can happen because of these series of events that's taking place around us. So that's my take on it. Pray, arm yourself, and be aware of your surroundings, man.